Shalom friends, this is Eliyahu Shear from Chesed Ve'emet, www.lovingkindness.co, and I just wanted to wish you all a Chag Purim Somayach. And here I have in front of me, of course, a box for an etrog. Perhaps I have the Chag incorrect. Well, let's see what's inside the box. And as you open up and see, there is nothing. But don't worry, because actually I have something else right over here. And if you take a look inside here, you'll see that I have in the beautiful box over here my etrog, which I used for Sukkot. So we see over here that in the first box, which was a mistake because it's Purim and we're not supposed to have etrogim on Purim, but actually it was empty. In the second box, which seemed to have this beautiful look on it, there was an etrog in it. Purim is the Chag of masks, where everything is confused. It's a time where we put on makeup or we put on something different, a hat, whatever it is, to express something who either we really are or who we really aren't. So for example, I can take off this fancy hat, Purim hat, and I can put on my regular rabbinical hat. And now I kind of look like a rabbi, but does that really mean I am a rabbi, or whether or not the hat that I used over here represented something of who I was? I'm still the same person. And so too, when we take a look at a box, or we take a look at a container, and we think the one is a beautiful etrog and the one is maybe a more beautiful etrog, and we find out that reality is we don't really know which is which until we open it up inside. Because masks can be deceiving and they don't reveal exactly who we are. And this is the festival of Purim, where everything is hidden, the mystery of God and the mystery of all of us. In the way we reveal ourselves to others and the way we reveal ourselves to each other, everything is hidden. On the festival of Purim, of course, we read the Megillat Esther. And as you know, I am a Sofer, and I have over here 2 containers. And since we're talking about the festival of masks, who can really tell which is the better? People think that what's important is what the external is. And you might notice a lot of people going into various bookstores and places in Mea Shearim and purchasing some really fancy covers to hold their Megillahs. But what really counts is what's inside. I mean, after all, nobody can tell what's inside this one, what's inside box number 1, and what's in box number 2. Well, actually, I have some good news for you. There's a Megillah in both of these boxes, but the catch is nobody knows which is the most beautiful looking Megillah. Actually, I'm a Sofer, and both Megillahs are mine. I wrote both of them in order to practice my Sofer skills, because if you become a Sofer, the first thing you need to do is to write a Megillah. The reason is because you do not find God's name explicitly written inside the Megillah, and therefore you don't have to worry about all the levels of Kedusha and so on and so forth that you need to have as you write God's name. It becomes a lot easier to write a Megillah. And this in front of me over here is actually the first Megillah that I wrote, and I'm just going to open it so that you can see and what the difference is between the different Megillahs. Here I'm opening it actually from the end going back to the beginning. And of course, for those interested, there are 12,196 letters in the Megillah. In a Mezuzot, you will find 713 letters in a Mezuzah corresponding to the word teshuvah, repentance. Interesting. So in total, you will find that approximately 20 Mezuzot will make up one Megillah. If you can write 20 Mezuzot, you can write a Megillah. If you can write a Megillah, you can write 20 Mezuzot. This Megillah that you see in front of you is written on 21 lines per column, and this was my first attempt at writing. So you see that even you can do it, because if I was able to write such a thing and put in the time that was necessary to do it, it's possible to be done. Now watch this. We're going to open up my second Megillah that I wrote, and after writing it I thought about selling it, and afterwards I thought to myself, you know, the work that I put in was so much that I thought to myself, would it be worth the money that I would receive for this effort? And at the end of the day I said to myself, I'm simply going to keep the Megillah for myself and use it, and this will be my first year of using my new Megillah. As you can see over here, we're starting from the beginning, and if you can compare the letters, you'll see that the letters look so much more beautiful on this Megillah than they did on the other one. I was also very fortunate in learning how to sew the Megillah, and the entire Megillah, basically from beginning to end, is my own Megillah. And I'm here ready to tell you also, first of all, to wish you a happy Purim, and second of all, to advertise and let you know that if you'd like to become a Sofer, then come to my site www.lovingkindness.co, where you can learn also how to write just like this, or perhaps even better. There's no reason why you shouldn't write even better than this. Go on to writing Mezuzot, Tefillin, Sefer Torah, and bring Kedusha and holiness to everything you do. Just remember that Purim is a time of masks where everything is hidden. Don't be fooled if you see somebody coming into shul this evening with a cardboard box such as this and think that he has nothing inside it, because he might in fact have the most beautiful Megillah that you've ever seen. And yet, it might well be that somebody else will come in and, with a very beautiful cover like this, and the Megillah that he might have is a very simple looking Megillah. Purim is a time of masks, and that's what we really are all about. That means to say, you must look at not what the outside is. Al tistakel b'kankan ella ma shebetocho. Do not look at the jug. Do not look at the container. Look at what is inside the container. Because what's inside the container is far more important for anybody than what you see on the outside of people. So as you see over here, just a very brief look, you can see this is where I write. This is my Sofer table. It always looks like a mess. Don't be upset if you become a Sofer and find your table in a mess as well. That's what it's all about. I have all sorts of quills in here for different things, and of course for simply practicing to make a quills. As you can see, I've really put in the efforts to try to learn how to make a quills, and there's so much involved. You can see from the ink, the quills, how to keep everything so that it works correctly as you want to, and if everything is in order, you too can write very beautifully. So I'm Eliyahu Shear from Chesed Ve'emet, www.lovingkindness.co, and here I am in my rabbinical garb, but just as quickly I can of course flip back to be a regular person, and you probably wouldn't even know the difference. In the meantime, I look forward to being in touch with you, so please go to my site www.lovingkindness.co. Be in touch with me. We can learn some Torah, we can learn how to write like a Sofer, we can learn about the beautiful values of Nida, of family purity, and there's just so much more that we can do. Be in touch. I'd be delighted to be in touch with you. Have a great Purim Somayach. Bye bye. Shalom.